Last time I warned y'all, now this time I'm just sending shots.
Morena Kotso, no mai haere mai otutahi. Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to Christchurch. For this, the first game of the second day of the Women's and Opens Ultimate Championships here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. My name is Kelsey Bielik.
My name is Blair Monroe.
And today we're watching a rumbling matchup between Hive, hailing from Auckland. They are on the right side of your screen in white just there, versus Outbreak Apocalypse, hailing from Adelaide, Australia. What an exciting matchup we have here today. Now, Blair, what are you looking for in this match?
Well, Kelsey, that's a great question. We've got two really strong teams looking to put a huge performance on the board. The winner of this is going to move through to our semi-final match. So we will see the winner of this facing off against NAS, who's been a very strong team throughout the course of the tournament.
How good. Very exciting leading up to the semis. Now, conditions today, just to touch on what we're feeling here on the ground. The sun is up. You can see that it's shining. It's really calm. There's not a gust of breeze happening. We can see Hive is off to the races, throwing some crisp, sharp throws, really fast movements. I love the energy that they're bringing to the field. Also indicative of that lack of wind. Throws are coming off cleanly. Maybe not that one. There's a turnover, and now the disc is with Outbreak Apocalypse. Interestingly, a name that was established, a club that was established pre-COVID.
So we've got Baddix with the disc marked by Sol pushing towards the far sideline. As you said, course conditions are quite stable at the moment. Nice aggressive upline, but it's not going to come away.
What a cleanup!
Huge behind the back layout almost.
Now, players looking to run through that dishy waiting, now disc in the hand of Baddix. And energy as the team is streaking onto the field, and you love to see that, Blair, right? After a point, just to see the entire team celebrating. They're running onto the sideline. We've got players and fans alike running in the audible energy we're hearing as well. Love to see that.
Just fantastic. Buckland coming through with that score. Some really great work by Hive to start off that point. We saw some great handler movement, really developing a lot of the downfield space. And just that little bit of miscommunication, a little bit of edge started to peel away. That generated the turn, and Outbreak weren't willing to give the disc back, which ultimately is what this game comes down to. Which team can play the aggressive defense and not let any mistakes go unpunished.
Ultimately, that's what we're watching. Hey, some good ultimate frisbee. Absolutely. And I think a really good message here. We see that one more time. Clean backhand, easy to catch, flat, straight to that breadbasket zone, you know, for an easy catch. But important for Outbreak Apocalypse to be, you know, communicating that on the field to Hive. They're saying, if you guys are making those little mistakes, as I was mentioning, we expect to see fewer errors. Again, calm conditions, warm weather. It's not too hot. Beautiful day to be playing ultimate frisbee. But as long as, you know, if Hive is bobbling the disc, if they're making those little mistakes, Outbreak Apocalypse is saying, hey, we're here and we're going to capitalize on that. Bring that energy right back and convert those into points.
So Malotra with a long pull for Outbreak as it touches down early into the handler space, fielded by Ben Chong, working with Damien Lucet, setting up in a vertical stack. We see a great cut by Leo Calico, managing to gain quite a few yards while leading the pass out in front of him. Leon Lang on the near side, putting a shot up to Simon Xiong.
Oh! What a point!
And Hive answer with one of their own. That is exactly what we're kind of expecting from the reasonably well-drilled, I say reasonably, who am I kidding? The very well-drilled offense from Hive. Kelsey, you were asking a question earlier about what the club scene in Auckland looks like for the Open Division. One of the big things that sort of defines Hive is their work ethic. They bring through, they take trainings very, very seriously. They drill that chemistry early on in the season and refine it over the course of our regional tournaments and warm-up events. And that's what we're seeing here. Great offense from the Hive side here to put one on the board.
And interesting, yeah, just touching on that further, I was asking about that, you know, what defines Hive as a club. We've seen them in Nats before, but what defines them? What's their culture? What are they building around? And I think you see that well-drilled nature here on the field. One thing that I commented on briefly, but I'm really enjoying there is the energy. They're coming out firing. You know, it's the first game on Sunday. People are shaking off the cobwebs a little bit. They've just played one full game of Ultimate, but Hive here just really bringing the energy, and if they can maintain that, you know, and work through those bobbles, yeah, it's anyone's game. But I am excited to see that.
So Balladraft with the pull going out of bounds. It looks like Outbreak are going to be bricking the disc, so they'll bring it to a point about 18 meters in front of the middle of their defensive end zone. So there's no positional advantage conferred to Hive by having that pull go out of bounds.
Foley with the disc in the middle of the field, marked by Lee. And so we're seeing a horizontal stack that Outbreak Apocalypse is running, and a turnover.
Just trying to move things a little bit quick, trying to maybe match the pace that Hive set in that first point. See a great upline cut from Balladraft.
Oh, what defense.
But the defensive pressure, as you say, is going to be enough to generate that turn. Outbreak are going to want this one a lot. So after that first turn, they're really going to dial in. They've moved towards a horizontal stack, so they're changing things up a little bit.
And I love that right off the bat, we're seeing that deep look, the under look, the slash across. There's so many options for the handlers to take.
And we have Tong on an upline cut marked by Williams, but he puts the backhand up anyway.
Foley celebrating, and look at that once again. Everyone is streaking onto the field to celebrate with number 3, Ben Foley, excited to put another point on the board for Outbreak Apocalypse.
So one thing that I am really liking about this Outbreak team is the fact that they are clearly, isn't that sweet? So that's Felix there.
MVP of the team.
ULTI.TV's very own Rex Vanderkop. Bringing his son along with him, probably a better player than Rex, if we're honest. He'll love hearing that a little bit later on. But just the way that the whole team as a unit rushes the field to kind of celebrate those points is a wonderful cultural thing. It's something that I really like to see in an Ultimate team. The idea that, yes, the 7 people on the line, right? There's one person who throws it, one person who catches it. So there are ostensibly only 2 people involved in the score, but for the whole team to see that as something big for the team, and they all get the opportunity to invest themselves in it, I think is a thing I really, really like to see.
But also recognizing the work that they've put in behind the scenes to ensure that all the players are on the same page with the role they're playing on the team. As you mentioned, there's 2 people involved in a point, the thrower and the catcher, but the defense, the sideline, you know, who's showing up to the trainings, the culture. And when you celebrate like that, you're bringing that momentum. You know, it can be really, it's strategic, not only like happy and culturally good to see, but they're bringing the energy into this next point, into a strong defensive point. Hive with the disc, though, they need to match that intensive energy. Chong engaging the dump. What?
Williams with a little shake and bake to get free. Comes around with the left backhand to find Chong again on the near sideline. We're seeing a couple of cuts develop in the end zone. Xiong getting faked off in favor of a reset. We see Chris Salt cutting underneath. Cromwell Palakin goes up for it.
The points! And Chong there, he wanted that break. I noticed that there was that open side look, but he was waiting for it, and the mark didn't adjust to cut that off. And you know, if the mark's not going to adjust, Chong is waiting for it. You know, yeah, beautiful point. It's difficult downfield to mark that break side in the end zone like that.
Now, for those of you who may be watching this on a laptop or maybe even a Chromecast on your TV, pull out your phone, go to the ULTI.TV Instagram, scroll back towards last year's Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships, and you'll get to see a fantastic highlight from that very same Cromwell Palakin playing for Gen 3. A great defensive play that someone tipped the disc, and then Cromwell was just there to snatch it up. And there's very few things that still satisfy me as much as watching someone's resigned shrug to see that they've led to a score. But it's all Palakin. That's what he does. He makes big plays.
Palakin. And I love the help up there off the ground. Great display of spirit from both teams. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what the council is determined with any rules about drones. The hospital's close by, so there's definitely helicopters flying by, but we're seeing fighter jets taking off the ground here, taking to the skies to rip those bombs out. Beautiful take. The disc is floating out of bounds.
It's going to be another brick. Great length there by Carl Tucker on the pull. Maybe just recognizing that with his form, maybe even taking that pull from the other side of the field would put them in a really, really solid position.
So strategically, when you're pulling the disc, keeping it inbounds is beneficial. Putting it in the sideline is beneficial. When it lands in the end zone off the pull, the opposing team, the offense has to take it from the end zone. However, when it floats out of bounds, regardless of where it goes, the other team has the opportunity to brick it, taking away that advantage. Off to the races, some quick movements, quick handler movement from Outbreak Apocalypse right now.
It's going to be Tong one more time on this near sideline. Goes for the chippy around backhand.
Loving those backhands. We're seeing those from both teams, taking those around backhand options. I'm really enjoying those throws.
Foley again with the disc. Supported by Tong in the handler space.
Some squirrely movement. Really hard handler coverage.
Great attempt there by Kleinig to pull that one down, but it's not going to be enough. We see Baladraf pull up the disc, bringing it to the front of the end zone, supported by Rapson. We see Penfold make a great initiating cut. It's Paliko, far sideline.
You can see Hive is hungry for those deep hooks there. We see multiple options streaking deep, waiting for it. They're opting for those under movements. A lot of handler movement right now, though.
Goes around, finds Chen. Tucker there as an option, waiting for the cut to close everything out. It's not coming towards the near sideline. Swings wide, finds Chen center field.
Such a great tempo of this movement. Again, so much energy. Everyone is moving on the field, giving options. The hammer, we love to see it. First one of the day, but it's an
Overcooks
overthrow.
a little bit. It's going to give a turn back.
I also want to comment on the previous defense. So here we have Outbreak Apocalypse. They have another opportunity, but Hive's defense in the end zone there that resulted in this offensive opportunity was an entire team effort. Now they're going to do that again as a team, but I just wanted to comment previously on the handler marks, the downfield marks, on the open and break side. They were really working as a team on defense to take away the options. They'll need to repeat that now, something I think they definitely are capable of, and excited to see some strong defense and the strong offense as well. Cuts initiating well right off the bat. Some great movement on the field. We're seeing them switch into a vertical stack also, interestingly. Cuts to the break side, but so many options available. The stall isn't getting too high before we're seeing the disc being released.
Turnbull puts a big edge shot across.
Wow.
Great shot to Lachlan Earl for the score, putting Outbreak back up by 1. We are 12 minutes into this game. Just an absolutely fantastic show there. Great offense, really clinical there by Outbreak.
I'm so stoked. These teams are coming out and they're playing for themselves. They're really putting on a show for us, though. The energy, one more time, this is one of my favorite throws and favorite ways anyone can score an ultimate, is just recognizing that cross-field open side option. As I've mentioned before, people so often get just hung up on what's ahead of them in the end zone, which would be a break throw, but instead just recognizing how much space there is to run onto that disc, and really, really well put as well. Earl with the points.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that. It's one of those things where you talked about that being an open side shot. When we looked at how that cut was developing, the defense was nowhere near in front, or I mean really sort of close enough to the Outbreak receiver. And I think that's something that gets set up a lot earlier downfield. When you start having those give and go chains, you start stringing together passes up the sideline, what typically happens is the defense recognizes that as the threat, and the mark often overcommits to try and stand in front of the throw as opposed to necessarily applying pressure on the mark.
Right.
What that then does is leaves the defense out of position, and that winds up that massive channel, that huge lane for that outside forehand to swing across to an unmarked area of the field. Malotra again with the pull for Outbreak, touching down with a lot of float, but it's going to be fielded by Salt, working with Lucet as we see a side stack initiate, slowly resolving back into a series of revolving cuts as Salt takes the disc on the far sideline. Feeling abandoned by the support handlers, manages to cut one through, finds Guyon Lang, Ben Chong wide open on that near sideline.
What a game. And consistent with the last few points, again, such fast movement, options developing.
Larkin goes through to Chong. Williams available as an option on the far sideline, gets looked off. Found now.
And with the movement downfield, Hive is really working the defense. They're really making them run, and
Chong through to Palakin for the score to tie up the game.
It's tough to match that tempo, especially when it's hammered to the anvil, when it's continuing on and on and on, when they're not giving up. It's tough to recognize that and maintain that focus on defense. And I think that right now, if Outbreak Apocalypse want to stop it, it's Hive's offense that's winning them the points right now. I mean, they have a really good defensive pressure, but Outbreak Apocalypse, if they want to be stopping those points, I think they need to match that tempo a little bit more on defense. Right now, we're seeing such strong offense from both teams. We're seeing defensive pressure too, but I think defense needs to step up with the points racking up so quickly. It's really exciting to watch. I mean, you love to watch offense do well, but defense needs to step up the intensity a little bit and match the respective teams if they want to slow that down.
Absolutely. We've seen such clinical and precise offense from Hive so far. We can tell that that's definitely one of their massive strengths. Offense is going to win you games, but it's defense that's really going to win championships. That's the old cliche. But essentially, if offense is perfect, all we're doing is trading backwards and forwards, and there's never really going to be a toehold established in the game for one team to climb up over the other. So while we are seeing Hive sting like a bee, the question is going to be whether or not Outbreak are capable of floating like the proverbial butterfly.
I love that. I'm definitely a team of workers, though. The disc goes up.
Turnbull looking for
a
wide open Earl for his second score of the match.
What a throw. Yeah, Turnbull really, and the defense was in position there as well. You know.
That was a great pursuit by Chen.
Yeah,
and just the shape of that throw brought it to that unguarded shoulder. So it was kind of fading in towards Earl's right-hand shoulder.
On the break side as well, that throw was just pinpoint. I mean, props to the legs to get there in time. But also just placing that so well. It's so difficult to defend that throw, especially when it's put into space, you know, just enough space so he can run onto it. And the challenge in pinpointing a throw like that from midfield, you know, he threw so far and just placed it perfectly to where his receiver could get it. Really great teamwork and a really great connection there for the point. Love to see that talent on display. That's why we're here, though.
Absolutely. And it's currently a one-point game. So I think we're one break in so far, but other than that, it's just been trading.
Yeah.
Which tells us that offense really is driving the game right now. And so the first team that really pours on that pressure on the defense. And we've seen some really great work from the Outbreak side, really pressuring those resets when we're looking at the handler movement, trying to keep that stall count low. And that's matched by a lot of downfield pressure, so nothing's really opening up there. But we need to see more of that if we want to be able to start making calls about this game as to who's going to win.
Look, I'm not complaining. It's so fun to watch offense clean it up and just score right away. It's so fun to watch. But yeah, agreed, Blair. The defense, you know, if they want to win the game, defense on both teams needs to just step it up a little bit more. In the meantime, though, loving strong offense from both teams. Again, the energy that Hive is bringing, they're buzzing together.
Ben Chong putting Andy Baddocks through the spin cycle a little bit. Managed to find Guyon Lang, putting a shot up for Palakin again.
Oh, he was so open.
Chris Salt was wide open on that near sideline, but Palakin decides to go crossfield for Tucker instead. And it's not going to be in.
Nice point.
Chris Salt puts it on the board. Again, that's kind of the dream team for Hive. So keep in mind, when we saw that point start, we had Damien Yusei and Chris Salt as the initiating handlers. We had Ben Chong really get the nutcracker out, bust open the center of the field for us. And then proceeding to see one of the initiating handlers be the person who pushes through and scores.
Right.
As they say on the internet, get you a man who can do both.
And I really like there as well. I just want to draw attention to that backhand. Here we're going to see it one more time. They've scored across a few different players. Hive has scored. They've been looking for those backhands. I think previously Chong was looking for that backhand around as well. And to be fair, that wasn't quite in, but it was the hockey assist, as they call the throw that led to the assist for the points. The hockey assist just there. Hive is showing that they really like that backhand. They really enjoy throwing from the close side of the field, throwing those long around throws, and that's something that Outbreak needs to recognize on defense if they want to start really shutting those down, those cross field points. You know, whether the forehand on the far side or the backhand on the far side there, throwing on a strong force and stopping those breaks.
But I mean, and that's it. I mean, like we've talked a lot about sort of what the defense can do, but ultimately it comes down to the 7 players on the field to make those necessary adjustments and really see what good defense can do in this match.
Absolutely.
So Turnbull has the disc there, looking for Kleinig. Back to Bamford Clark, back to back to Turnbull. So really cycling through those handlers. Kleinig again.
An Outbreak Apocalypse in their classic horizontal stack, it looks like. The disc goes up. And a nice take by Rogers.
So it's back to Bamford Clark and Turnbull. Kleinig again. So we're just really cycling through those same handlers, looking to make options.
And it's clean. A quick check in there to see if that D may have drawn a foul, but no foul. The disc goes up.
That's going to be Leo Palico underneath it. Comes down. Oh my goodness.
Another fighter jet out here, Blair.
Good grief. Somebody needs to put that on a poster. Balladraff now resets to Rapson. Sam Penfold for the score and the tie.
There. That was athleticism on display. Point, bam, bam, bam. You know, that wasn't luck by any means. That catch there, it's drilled. They have it down. Wow.
I want to see that again.
Wow.
That was, I mean, look, in New Zealand, we've got a lot of still sort of COVID posters telling people to wash their hands, you know, sanitize, sing happy birthday. But the real Outbreak poster is the one that Leo Palico just made offensively on that point.
An incredible catch there.
Gonna see it again. Ka-chow. Oh.
Ka-chow is right. Looks like there is a timeout called on the field. Both teams are taking a break, no doubt, to revisit the glory of what just happened in Hive's case. In Outbreak's case, to discuss how they can turn this flow of an offense to slow that down into a drip. You know, how can we fix this leaky faucet and turn it off? So Outbreak, no doubt, discussing, you know, how to stop this pandemic that Hive is bringing to the field. Hopefully, you know, maybe a bit of Varroa might, or I'm not sure, trying to stop that.
That's a very, very niche. That's quite a niche joke there, Kelsey. Those who don't know, look up colony collapse disorder. And maybe donate to your local council. Help them revitalize the environment. And maybe even stand for election on your regional council. You can't go wrong. So, keep in mind, right, that so far, Outbreak have been setting the pace for most of this game. Okay, up until recently, they were always up by 1 or tied. Now we've seen 2 back-to-back scores by Hive, and so that's a huge swing in momentum. Even though the margin might not look big, that's probably going to be one of the reasons to really call that timeout, is maybe Outbreak want to kind of cool the momentum a little bit from Hive's great defensive work there. I mean, now we've got players like Leo Palico taking the field again, and all of the Outbreak players now have to respect him as such a significant threat.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of something like that is that when he's able to make plays like that and establish himself as such a physical presence on the field, that's now a greater discouraging impact to a handler. If you look and you see, oh, Leo Palico is right on the shoulder of my intended receiver, now I'm going to second guess that throw more than I otherwise would have.
Definitely.
I talked a lot yesterday about the sphere of influence, this idea of you imagine a ball around a person and any disc or player within that sphere becomes something that they can then have an impact on. And I think Leo Palico has really gotten out here and established that he has quite a large sphere of influence on the field. So we're seeing Baddox receive the centering pass.
And the disc goes up. Oh, easily taken. And that's a counter. It's the commentator's curse there. But yeah, Palico not in the same situation, but leaving it clean, just respecting the positioning from Outbreak Apocalypse. The disc goes back. Looks like Outbreak Apocalypse in their end zone right now, in their end zone formation.
Van der Kopp with the disc now on the near sideline, allowing that reset to Baddox.
Oh, God.
Palico nearly comes through, but it's Gordon with it. Back to Baddox, marked by Penfold. We see that undercut developing from Truong. Goes back to Van der Kopp.
Oh, nice movement there. Oh, you love it! What poise, what calm connection there in the end zone. You know, Outbreak Apocalypse showing that they've drilled that end zone. We've been seeing a few different looks. Mainly they've been running a horizontal stack, but they collapse into their end zone play, the swinging between the handlers as they're waiting for that safe option to open up, and it happens right there. It shows that patience pays off. Nice chilly movements and a lot of poaching on defense. So Hive, you know, taking the energy off a little bit. And this is, you know, exactly what you want to see out of a timeout, Blair. I know you were talking about that, but when you've seen the other team score a few points on the board, I mean, taking a timeout offers you a chance to not only revisit your strategy and what you want to do, but it also strategically stops. It physically stops, puts time, you know, on standing there and not running, not scoring, not keeping that energy going. So Outbreak Apocalypse really showing, you know, their experience there, a veteran move calling the timeout, and really great to see that result in a point for them on the field as well.
Great score by Truong there for Outbreak. We're going to see Oscar Turnbull with the desk for the pull to start off the defense for Outbreak.
And we saw him previously out of the timeout. There's a zoom in on his lovely face as he was walking over to the sideline, no doubt supporting his team from there, echoing calls, and now with the pull, running out on defense.
We see
with the
a
disc.
horizontal stack developing from Hive now. Palarkin with an undercut, taking the place of Chris Salt in the handler space.
As per usual, plenty of deep cuts. We've got that same energy, undercuts happening, a lot of options for handlers, and a lot of separation as well. They've clearly, no doubt, drilled the movement and the strategy, but also, well, definitely spending time in the gym. There's a call on the field.
Yeah, it's unclear exactly what nature of the call was. My estimation is going to be something related to disk space. So just to make sure that players aren't marking too closely, the player on offense has to be able to pass the disc horizontally between the two players without a contact. There was also a recent rules adjustment that it actually needs to be a disc width from the player's pivot foot as well to counter straddling as well. Just making sure that players have sufficient room to move without drawing contact. Ben Chong with a laser show through to Xiong.
And Hive, with their undergainers, they're quite far. Their undercuts have a lot of space to them, which they're doing really well. You see other teams you saw yesterday, sometimes when they're playing the small ball, they're a lot closer. The passes are a lot closer, but here Hive is really making so many yards from these undercuts. There's been another pick on the field. A bit of a messy end zone, so when you're looking at the screen there's a lot of bodies in the same space. You know, you're looking at both colored jerseys, just a bit of congestion. So it's not surprising that a pick may have been called.
Chris Salt with the disc now.
Oh, what a great point. And tough to mark a player like Chong like that in the end zone, hey.
Absolutely. He's just so quick to essentially just pull his weight forward and just develop a cut. So explosive.
Acceleration and the squirreliness, as I like to say, you know. I'm drawing on that North American term. Just the quick movement. Here we'll see that one more time. It's just one juke.
There.
Right there. The
shoulder shimmy. Just such commitment to the shoulder fake, and it's enough to pull the defense just onto the back foot. Once they're off balance, it's that commitment
the
cut.
Explosiveness in the other direction. Yeah.
Now, just to talk a little bit more about what you mentioned before, Kelsey, you were talking about a pick being called. So just a reminder for those at home, Ultimate is a non-contact sport. What that means is that a defensive player must be able to pursue their offensive counterpart without drawing contact. So if a cut develops in such a way that a defensive player's pursuit of their offensive counterpart is impeded by the movement or positioning of another player, then that constitutes a pick, and the defensive player is allowed to catch up to where they reasonably thought they would have been had the pick not occurred. So Vanderkop early to Baddix. Pushing towards far sideline, looking for Buckland.
This is zone, or is there some sacky defense?
It does definitely look like a zone defense here. We're seeing a bit of a 2-3 2-3-2 by the looks of things. No, it's...
And I love this decision from Hive. I love this. You know, as we were saying, defense is what's going to win this game for both teams. And why not just switch it up? Just throw something different and see how they respond. It might result in a point, but you know, they've drilled this and they're getting creative. What throw there? What vision finding that player? Vanderkop assessing the options downfield. What a throw, Blair!
Cut that out. Oh, Rexy.
I don't think he will. I think he's going to do more of that.
Oh, somebody's getting his contract renewed. What a beautiful find by Vanderkop, just seeing that space on the far side of the field. That one was for Felix, no doubt.
That one was for Felix, and he's running out on the field now.
So the game is tied. It is 6 apiece. Just some great work there. I mean, we saw Hive. I mistakenly called that a 2-3-2. It looked like an arrowhead zone. We had Penfold up on the mark, pushing towards the side, supported by Connor Williams and Chris Rapson. And we've talked a lot about some of the ways that two can work through a zone. One of the biggest ones is you tire them out. If you've got a series of players committed to chasing the disc back and forth across the field and staying in front of it, you use the disc to drag them out of position. Once that happens, eventually the players tire down. The disc doesn't, because surprisingly, it's made of plastic. At which point, the players slow down, and that's where those holes open up. And that's exactly what we saw. The arrowhead wasn't. We're going to see that again.
It's just a series of backhands there. That inside-out cross field. Wow.
Just what an assist.
And how many people did that snake through? You know, he's just like showing his skills as a seamstress out here, threading the needle. It went through so much fabric, so many people, but it was just slicey so clean to the opposite side. And I don't know, this game is giving me everything that I love to see in Ultimate. As I've mentioned, those cross-field looks to score points in the end zone. It's happening. Both teams are doing it, and I'm here for it.
Oh, Turnbull with another great ball. Picked up by Williams to Lucet, supported by Salt on an initiating cut, dragging everything across. We see Chong putting it up, looking for Palakin and Lang. Lang comes down with it for the score. Hive to 7 over Outbreak 6.
Boom, boom, quick points, Blair. And you know, we saw Hive come out in the zone. It was really great to see that zone offense that Outbreak Apocalypse was playing against that. It was calm, it was fast, it was some amazing throws coming out of it. I would like to see if Hive is consistently scoring points this quickly, if they're consistently you know, with those deep looks in the end zone like this, it might be helpful to have a deep or consider different defensive styles.
Let's just have another look at this inside break that Lucet throws. Just the great edge to a wide open Chong.
Inside out huck.
Yeah, an inside out huck on that open side, recognizing where that open side was, and just trusting those great receivers like Palakin and Lang to be able to pull that one down. Now again, that was what, 2-3 passes. We had Connor Williams pick up, pass to Lucet, Lucet to Chong, Chong to Lang for the score. So that really precise long game that they're capable of demonstrating. We've seen Hive play a lot of small ball. They definitely can act like a busy bee. But then they can also just do a 3 or 4 pass offense, which is absolutely fantastic to see. So we're seeing lots of really great, precise, and aggressive offense. Bad X winding up the huck, decides to holster instead. Matthew Gordon with the disc. Finds Vanderkop.
Oh, some help on defense there. We're hearing a vertical call. Interesting to see that. They're still quite far from the end zone. Maybe there's recognition that this is how they want to change. They want to clean it up. It goes up, but it's straight into the hands of the defense.
Great block there by Lee.
Yeah, we haven't seen many decisions like that on the field, but great positioning by the defense. Chen with the disc. Similarly, yeah, a few mistakes coming out of the woodwork here.
A very short disappointment gap there. Really, really quick for both teams to make that switch from offense to defense. We've got Meyer with the disc now marked by Balladraff.
Cut from the front of the stack.
Finds Buckland, goes wide to Vanderkop. Can't get away the huck, decides to try and reset. Miscommunication there.
He was opting there to throw to space. He
just
saw the coverage and was, I think, hoping that the reset would run into that space. The disc goes up.
Looking for Chen, but Baddock's underneath it. Baddock says no.
This is, I think, the most number of turns we've seen in a point thus far, Blair. There's the defense is really stepping up, but also I think we've seen a few more mistakes on offense.
Absolutely. It's just little things. It's maybe a little bit of tunnel vision. I mean, the players on both teams have the execution. They have the execution. They have the throws. They've got the vision. It's just maybe focused a little too narrow and then not seeing the significance of the defensive threat as they're making those split-second decisions.
Or also maybe just getting a little bit more flexible with the options they're taking. We've seen a lot of really safe, flowy movement from both teams, and now from both teams, that just a few areas creeping in. So, I mean, you know, the points are on the board. Maybe a little bit of creativity, a little bit more openness in how they're making decisions. But yeah, just a few turnovers resulting in a slightly longer point than what we've seen.
Buckland with the disc now, looking for Baddock's over Chen.
And Outbreak Apocalypse still in their vertical stack, opting to stay there, maybe recognizing that their movement is better there. I'm not sure why they switched out of the horizontal. It seems to be working well for them, though.
Looking for Buckland in the deep space. Decides instead to go for Gordon. They're pushing towards the end zone, not too far away from a score here. Has to go around, finds Strong, supported by Baddox, pushing through.
Movements. Yeah, nice breaks we're seeing.
Mitchell can't find Meyer, can't get to Baddox, decides to go Buckland center field.
Buckland, a really solid reset we're seeing from the front of the stack there. That's a few times now that he's bailed out the handlers, bailed out the thrower with that front of the stack cut. Now Outbreak Apocalypse, they need to maintain that same calmness, that same patience that we've seen as they have in the past. If they can do that, they can get this point. Nice movement, grinding through, waiting for the options. The disc goes up, Rexy looking for the same option, a great take!
Vanderkop's second assist of the game.
And the same option, you know, Hive should recognize that. I've mentioned the other way around too, that Hive likes those cross-field options, but Vanderkop showing that he has those cross-field looks in the end zone, and that exact same point. Like, Hive needs to recognize those open side cross-field looks. Just because the disc is on the opposite side of the field doesn't mean that the open side is not still risky, you know? Defenses, we're seeing players just set up on the wrong side there. They're not on the open side, they're marking the break side, making it such a safe and great option to throw that cross-field look.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well. When we watch this develop, we can see that Vanderkop is actually open pretty often. I think maybe Hive aren't respecting the sort of offensive presence that he's bringing. We're seeing them kind of leave off him quite a bit, giving him sort of 2, 3, 4 meters even. And what it's allowing is those other players like Baddox, like Turnbull, who are doing a lot of the sort of the dominant handler work. They're allowing a wide open player to quickly reset the disc and keep that stall count low, which is buying them a lot of time to allow something to develop in the downfield space.
And one thing I really enjoy about how Outbreak Apocalypse is responding to that right now is that they're seeing where the options are, they're seeing what Hive is allowing them to do, and they're adapting to that. They're taking those easy options. You know, you do have some teams who will run their strategy regardless. They have their, you know, preferred receivers, those preferred players that have the disc in their hands, and they might, you know, not adapt, not change based on what is available. But here, you know, Outbreak Apocalypse really just taking the open options, showing that they can adapt, they can change based on what is available to them, how the defense is opening up options.
Get down there, run!
The disc goes up, and Hive on offense with their classic side stack. Chong rushing to get open. Taka finding the disc goes up.
It's got a lot of edge to it. It looks like it might touch down out of bounds.
Yeah, so we saw when Long released that, he was leaning back a little bit with the hug. Leaning back, lifts the nose of the disc up, so when he releases it, it soars high into the air instead of with the power behind it pushing it forward. Goes up and soars out of bounds. Maybe a safer option, you know, when discs go that high, it can lead to an issue. Sometimes we call them hospital passes when there's multiple people beneath the disc jumping up to tear it down. And a great inside-out look. And the disc goes up again into space. And a great take. Xiong there, contesting that on defense, and great defense by Xiong. It's really challenging to fully defend these hawks that we've seen Outbreak Apocalypse put up time and time again that are just, you know, they're the length of the field, but they're so precise. You know, they're for the offense to run onto. They put them into space, making it, again, really challenging to defend that. Also,
so that is going to be our half-time.
Halftime.
So that is Outbreak 8 over Hive on 7. So this is the first game of the second day of the 2024 New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 2 in our open division. Some great work there. We were at a Galaxy point, neck and neck. It's a game to 15. So when the first team scores 8 points, that's going to be where our halftime gets taken. So this was a huge point here for the side from Adelaide. Fantastic work there to keep it tight. Vibing and keeping it tight, always. We could not ask for a better game to start us off on the second day of our tournament as we lead into our semi-final matches and finals.
So exciting to see the energy that both teams are bringing out. This is a really privilege. I feel privileged to watch a game where both teams are working so hard, putting it on display.
Just jumping on the commentator quickly to bring you a exclusive ULTI.TV stat. Andy Baddix has 0 turnovers that have led to the other team scoring so far in this game. It's pretty impressive. And apologies to everyone, I clicked the stream start button, but it actually didn't start. So we just started it, so apologies for that.
That was everybody's favorite man behind the console, Mike Palmer, the man who brought you all of the very best of coverage that we've seen so far. Now, if you want to help us prevent issues like that happening again, we need your help. We need your funds. Head on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV. Give us your spare change. But until then, we're going to take a short break before we come back for the second half of this very exciting match. My name, as always, is Blair Monroe.
I'm Kelsey Bielik, and we'll fill you in a little bit in the second half. We can get you guys up to speed. We'll check in soon. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. I don't think so. Is there something wrong with the screen? Yeah, we're filling this a bit. You could go yeah, no, that's okay. That's fine. I was like, I am so out of shape.
There is no God!
Tell them the highlights are running now from the first half, so pay some attention.
Rixie! Rixie, come here! Yeah.
Don't tell him. I'm telling him. Don't tell him. No, I'm not. Don't get him out the end zone.
Dude.
They're doing great, that's all.
That backhand with the like off balance.
That's a Rexy special, mate. See that at social media every week.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So you guys' disc went there for some reason.
Like not knowing his work.
Mikey, how much time left?
I'm sorry. It's not sorry. Yeah.
That's right. He definitely started to record, right, Mike?
Yeah.
All right, no problem. Literally one job.
Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, Otutahi, Christchurch. Hello everyone and welcome back to the second half of the first match of the Division 2 Ultimate Championships.
I mean, it's their first half, really.
It's their first half. Yeah, apologies to everyone. We had some technical issues behind the scenes, and I'm launching, and we're still looking at a few of these highlights from the first half, so you can kind of see what we were so stoked about. And when we say it was an excellent first half, here's a little taster of what we saw. Just to cover a few of those points, I want to mention we saw incredible energy from both teams. We talked a little bit about the importance of defense. I think that in this game, defense is what's going to win the games because the points have been so fast from both teams.
The fact that we've got a score of 8-7 only 40 minutes into the game is a real sort of testament to the fact that, what's that, 15 points in 40 minutes is roughly 2.5 minutes per point. So we've seen a lot of clinical offense from both of these teams. A couple of breaks that they've traded in, but ultimately things are looking pretty darn close. We've got Lachlan Earl pushing across to Turnbull, finding Kleinig, supported in that horizontal stack by Foley.
A few things that I'm looking forward to this half that we saw the first half are incredible round throws.
What a great run through by Chen.
And some incredible sky balls as well from both teams taking to the skies to tear the disc down. Looking forward to more of that at this point.
Pinfold to Baladraf.
Looking at options, finding the safe swing to Rapson. Rapson looking to the open side.
Chen with the disc now.
Soft forehands. So we've seen a lot of the undercuts have been really some yard gainers for Hive. They don't come too close to the disc. They keep a lot of movements, and that was just a bit too soft for the offense to get.
Yeah, I think we've seen Chen have a couple of instances like that, and I think it might just be a case of needing a bit more support from the team. Some great handler movement by Foley to get free, though.
Yeah, Turnbull with the push pass there as well. And really using the width of the field. So as we mentioned in the first half, conditions right now incredibly calm. The sun was out earlier, but now it's gone. These are really, you couldn't ask for better conditions to play Ultimate. Minimal, if any, wins right now. It's tough to see anything.
Tong with a big rip.
Up.
Paliko one more time.
One more time. And as I mentioned, we've seen some sky balls. Both teams taking to the skies, especially Paliko with that catch in the first half to score the point. Once again, he's showing us on defense what he can get out here. Taking to the skies again, so giving Hive a chance.
A necessary opportunity to tie the game. Baladraf.
A really wide field right now. Like, there's no picks that are going to happen, but also not quite as much movement. And that's that massive yard gainer that I was talking about with the undercuts. Chen for the strike cut. I think
manages to hit that connection. We've got Williams now with left hand. Big high backhand looking for Lee. Comes down with it despite contact through Earl, which was a questionable bid.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that could have been a dangerous catch, but Earl looks like managed to maintain minimal contact in coming through for the team. And you know, I think that was a really good defensive play by Earl. He still went for it, and while there was a bit of contact, I think he still kept it pretty safe.
So we'll see that again.
Bit of a late throw there, made it trickier than it could maybe otherwise would have been, but nonetheless a great cut, great receiving catch, and then for the points. Anyway, another one on the board for Hive, and now they're going to come out on defense. Chen, looking at the disc, it looks like it might be tacoed. I'm not sure what would have happened there to taco the disc. Just testing it out, seeing how it flies. So what is tacoing a disc, Blair?
Well, when you get an impact that heavy, so I mean, I mentioned already, the disc is made of plastic, which means it's pliable, it's malleable. Part of the reason it flies well is because it's flat. The moment that you...
Actually, Einstein did once say there's nothing more beautiful than watching a flying disc fly through the air with its rotation and how physically
I
how it
wouldn't be
moves.
surprised if he said that, but when it bends, it takes the... we sort of jokingly refer to it as taking the shape of a taco, at which point the flight characteristics are somewhat tanked. So just making sure that it's still suitable for play. Great big forehand, says there's no fears about it being tacoed as Buckland pulls that one down.
I'm loving the options that Buckland is offering his team in this game.
Great bid by Chong, and it's not going to be enough as Buckland comes down with that one. Going back up by one, the score is 9-8.
And I just want to comment on Buckland as a player. He's been offering his team. He's always available. He's offering the options. I really like how he plays this game. He was an option there, but really what I think is so great about the offense that he plays, the downfield offense, is that he's not immediately in that space. He's not congesting anything. Instead, he's waiting for the option to open up, and he's always a safe, reliable, option there. Here, cutting into the deep space, finding the available space. I think he's really, it shows intelligence in the way in which he's playing. Yeah, really nice whole team point from Outbreak Apocalypse there. Matching, as we saw in the first half, really point for point. One on the board for Hive, one on the board for Outbreak Apocalypse. And really cool to also see that the defense stepping up. I know Chong almost had a defensive play there. Right in that space, you know, Hive is seeing where the disc is going to go on offense. They're knowing where they need to be. And if they keep up that energy, they're going to see more defensive plays as well, resulting in more opportunities on offense. We have Outbreak Apocalypse and Turnbull, Oscar Turnbull with the disc. He's been throwing quite a few of the pulls. He's definitely a puller on the team. And they have an opportunity to now generate the turn. And one more option, one more opportunity potentially to score a point. Hive looking to convert into a point as well.
Lucé to field the disc. Great aggressive chase on defense to stop that first pass early. Chong with the big fake decides to move for the forehand. Salt with the one-handed grab on the near sideline. Putting a blade up, looking for Lang. He's not going to find him.
I love the creativity in that throw, though. I love the vision. It just goes up.
Xiong and Lucé both underneath it, but it's Earl.
What a read. It was fading so hard, he knew exactly where it was going to be. No need to display insane athleticism. If you have the intelligence to know where the disc is going to go, Foley with the disc, sussing the field. Oh, what a nice throw. I love the execution on that soft around.
Foley right on the doorstep.
And this is where I love to see Outbreak shine, their patience, as we saw in the first half. You know, they've been so good at not forcing options, so well drilled. I think this is when your trainings come into play. And I love that throw.
A nice little inside, hoping that it was going to fade back in towards the field. Turnbull's not going to be able to get to it.
We've got Malhotra on the sideline there, offering feedback to his team. Maybe looking for a greatest attempt, but it was too far to keep the foot in bounds, retrieve the disc, and launch it back in.
Pilarkin starts to jog out of his cut, so it's not going to be an option. Chong can't get free without making contact.
The coffin area before his handler, that's a hard place to be, and that was a bailout throw. Really, I think I'm surprised that there weren't that many options from Hive, you know, to help out the handler there. And that bailout throw, he was just struggling to find options for the first time, I think, seeing Hive struggle to open things up. You know, Hive, props to Outbreak to keep the pressure on, and you know, they're going to convert, as we saw in the very first point of the game. If any mistakes are made, Outbreak Apocalypse is going to show that they can capitalize on that.
Absolutely, and it's taken a little while, but with the aggressive defense pressure mounting, Outbreak able to finally crack open a 2-point lead in the game, which is huge at this point. We've seen how clean these teams can play offense. It is going to be defense that dictates who wins. So
Definitely.
that is a huge benefit there for the side from Adelaide. Hive are going to need to answer with a clean hold and then some aggressive defensive pressure on their own.
I have to say, just to be honest with you all, generally when watching games, even as a commentator, you're staying neutral, but you do tend to take sides. In this game, I have to honestly say that both teams are playing so well. I'm really rooting for both of them. I'm really loving the energy, the intensity, the throws, the creativity that both teams are bringing out on the field, which is awesome. An awesome place to be for me because, you know, whoever wins, I'm stoked about that. And I'm supporting both of them. But right now, if Hive wants to scrape back and if they want to win the game, they need to bring that energy, but also not trip up on it. We have seen a few misfires, a few bobbles, just with the energies pushing them too fast to make a decision too fast. But they need to step it up, and they definitely are capable of that. That's one thing that I'm stoked to see over the next few points. Here they are coming out and a side stack on offense.
Looking to isolate Connor Williams early. Chris Salt looking back to try and provide that reset option. Evolving that into an upline cut. We're seeing a lot of switching defense, maybe some zone by Outbreak, trying to cover space as much as they are players. Penfold with the disc center field as the zone slowly gets back into position. A wide open Xiong on the far sideline.
Love the vision right now. They're seeing the cracks where the open spaces are. The hammer goes up.
Chris Salt able to get underneath it. That hammer was a little bit...
Flexing back.
Yeah, it had a lot of wobble.
Yeah, tough catch to make.
And it can be great to sort of
Disc
have
goes up.
It can be amazing to have an emphatic score like that, but if it's going to turn over and allow the opportunity, like a team like Outbreak, to put another one on the board, Buckland score.
Could have made it easier, but why make it easier when you know your teammate's going to make that catch? He's allowing him just a few style points, you know, a chance to be on the highlight reel. Why make it an easy catch when you can lay out and with that sliding reslide? Oh, I would say that's a great point for Outbreak and an extra point for style on the side.
Why be smooth when you can be cool? Great layout there. A little body slide from Matt Gordon to widen the score a little bit earlier, and a timeout has been called. So a few on the bounce now from Outbreak. So Hive need to think about what they're going to do to answer it. We've seen a lot of clean offense from them, but now things looks like the wheels might be starting to shake a little bit loose. We've seen some turnovers from some Hail Mary, high stall count bailouts, and they've been eaten up and comfortably converted by Outbreak. So
yeah, an interesting call after a few points in a row. An interesting call from offense to call the timeout there. Maybe just looking to ride that high, give the legs a wee break, and discuss what the defensive strategy is. But I just want to emphasize again that Hive can absolutely come back from this. They can dig deep. We saw in the first half the energy, the explosiveness, the movement. It's tough to match that on defense. And now that Outbreak Apocalypse has kind of unlocked it a little bit, they're pulling away. But I really do think that Hive can match that. I want to see them come out of this timeout and yeah, pick that up. I think it's a really good opportunity for them to discuss what they're going to do and, you know, how they're going to achieve those next few points that they sorely need on the board. We see teams that are physically, you know, when they're touching each other, when they're giving high fives, they perform better. Research indicates that. And Outbreak Apocalypse, you know, hands on shoulders, hands in the middle. I've really enjoyed a few of their cheers. There is no cure. The Outbreak Apocalypse is everywhere. The pandemic is spreading, and there's more and more cases as they're scoring more points.
So we're getting to see some highlights from that first half now. Some really great work. We're going to see again a nice inside break from Luce to a wide open Ben Chong on the near sideline. Manages to put an inside flick huck up as it fades towards the far sideline to be eaten up by Lang.
One of those great, you know, sky balls that we were talking about. Unfortunately, not again. With Outbreak Apocalypse there, they were recognizing that, you know, when it's high, Hive have been doing such a good job of tearing it down, recognizing that deep threat space. What an inside throw. And as I've mentioned, the creativity, I'm loving, and I have loved over the course of this game from both teams, the creativity, the vision from a lot of the throwers, putting out some incredible insides, some cheeky backhand rounds as handlers have been coming up for the strike. Instead of throwing that forehand for the strike down the line, they've been throwing the backhand, you know, down the line. It's just some great creativity on the throws.
Yeah,
the disc goes up.
Let's go! Let's go!
Hive on offense. Quarterbacked by Salt. Chong now with the
Salt now finds Williams midfield. Goes around to a laying out Salt, but he's a little bit behind the disc. He's not going to be able to come up with it. This is the thing that we're talking about. Hive starting to maybe let up the pressure. Maybe not the pressure, but definitely the focus. I think we're starting to see some of those missed connections. Earl with the disc on the near sideline. Puts one up and around. It's miscommed, but he's got it anyway. That's Foley for you.
He might need to lay out for that, but, you know, that would have been gratuitous. He was there. He was so fast.
Klein egg now marked by Luce.
Another crap.
Looks like there was a stoppage called.
An injury? Oh. We're hearing maybe contact.
I didn't expect downhill. Downhill.
It sounds like, yeah, a foul. There was some contact off the disc downfield. And while that may not have affected the play directly, if it does affect the way in which players can match up on defense or their ability to continue with the play, set up options, it is important to address that and stop that. We'll see one more time what happens over there. Focusing on that great catch.
Nice high backhand, finds Kleinig.
Looks like the call's been resolved. Players have matched up. Hive looking deep.
Williams with a big hook, but it's fading hard left. It's going to be Foley to eat it up.
Yeah, clean catch.
Comes wide, finds Earl, marked by Salt. Big fake, gets the defense to shift. Has to reset, finds Foley as Lang looks to close off the channel.
And Outbreak Apocalypse previously in the first half focusing on, they were playing a horizontal stack, now shifting to a classic vertical stack in the middle of the field.
Tong with the disc now, marked by Palakin, goes wide, overthrows Foley, which I didn't know if that was possible to do.
Yeah, he threw it in too much space. The disc
Williams
goes up
for
again.
Palakin, comes down with it, and the score. That is what Hive needed.
A great catch. Yeah.
Great work to bring it back within two.
And I love Connor Williams there when he threw that disc. We saw him when he threw the hook up before. He was you know, stall zero, seeing these options and keeping the defense on the, if anything, trying to keep them on their heels, their back feet, opening up options right away. So we see one more time the disc goes wide. He's trying to put it into space to ensure that the defense doesn't get a hand on it. But Williams recognizing that the mistake from the earlier throw, putting it into space, but still cleanly able for the offense to reel in for the point. And thus far, with timeouts that we've seen this game, the team that's on the back foot after a timeout has been able to come out firing, which is really exciting to see that those timeouts have resulted in points for the teams that, again, have been down a break when that happens. Really great to see. So as I mentioned, after that timeout, gave Hive an opportunity, Outbreak Apocalypse as well, but Hive an opportunity. They'd had a few points against them and managed to discuss what they needed to do to convert on offense.
So it's going to be Paliko with the disc for the pull. We see the signal of readiness up from Outbreak Apocalypse. Huge big rip with a lot of angle, which means he's going to lose a lot of yards and start to fade back.
That said, high up in the air does give defense a chance to get down more quickly. Discs that
There's the big shot. Looking for Gordon. It fades, but he gets it anyway.
I think that was... I'm consistently impressed with the reading abilities of Outbreak Apocalypse. They've done such a good job at knowing where the disc is going to go and getting positioning into that space. A great example, case in point just now, seeing where it was going to go, and there were a few Hive players around to potentially play defense on it, make a play on it, but Outbreak Apocalypse knowing where it was going to land, reading that fade, and getting into position to reel it in. Let's see that again. A great outside-in forehand coming around, and yeah, just reading it so well, staying underneath it. We saw, again, a few of those Hive players getting into position to make a defensive play, but again, yeah, Outbreak Apocalypse just reading the disc really well, and it's hard when your offense is in position. It's hard to make a defensive play. How good. So there's a few ways to sky people here. This wasn't a sky ball, but obviously having athleticism, being really tall, they say you can't teach height, is one. Being able to jump really high, of course, if you can jump over everyone else, it's a huge advantage in catching the disc, but also reading where it's going to be and getting positioning. That is putting your body in a place where the defense can't make a play on it, or they might need to draw contact in order to make a play, is another really important skill in tearing the disc down and getting it. And Outbreak Apocalypse doing such a great job at that, at positioning on the field.
Malhotra with a monster pull, fielded by Lucet, finds Chong as we see a zone setup from the lads from Adelaide.
And interesting, there's been quite a few deep looks.
What a throw that was. It's Tucker working with Salt up the far sideline now, pushing towards Paliko.
Hive, now there's two deep players, and it results in a turn. This is exactly why they sent those two players deep.
That was a great run through by Malhotra, I believe, to touch that one down. We're going to see a vertical stack being set up by Adelaide. Starting from the back of the stack, it's Truong. Decides to push, pushing far sideline for Buckland instead. Gets a shift out of Tucker. Back to Smith and Paliko again.
And really great defense you know, downfield defense marking up on the open side. He managed to get around to the break side of his player as well, exemplifying great positioning and speed to result in that turnover.
Looks like they're setting up a little bit of a side stack to try and create as much room for their isolation cutters as they can in the midfield against that zone.
Blade, I love that throw.
Only Ben Chong would have the vision and the confidence to put that up in a situation like this. He goes wide, crossfield to Tucker.
We're still in a zone offense. Ooh, some contact. Yeah, that looks like
Contact on that one there. Now, the question is going to be whether or not that was a foul or a strip. Looks like it's accepted, but the question is whether or not Xiong had sustained control of the disc.
Let's see that one more time. Great defensive awareness, but yeah, it's an all-contact sport, so.
Yeah, and so, but that's the question, whether or not the contact impacted. So what it looks like is going to happen, there's going to be a foul. He didn't have sustained control, and so he'll be able to start play from outside the zone. So he'll immediately look to drop the disc off to Lucé. There's a lot of cutting towards that near sideline, but it's going to be Chris Salt with a little two-step.
Chris Salt. I love that when the disc is in Salt's hands, he does such great things with it, like Chong there as well. But also I love that he knows where to be to score points. So often we see handlers or people who are usually in the handling position assisting points. They rack up those stats assisting. You know, they're the ones with the throws. They're the ones holding the disc more often. But Salt showing his diversity as a player, his ability in so many different situations. Yeah, able to get open in those squirrely spaces and putting one more point on the board. That's 2 in a row for Hive now.
And that's exactly what Hive need to keep them in the game. So they're going to have brought that back to 2 points. It's 12-10 in this race to 15.
And what a strong game it is. What an exciting way to start Sunday. As I mentioned in the first half, that there's so often, you know, the beginning of Sunday, you need to shake off the cobwebs, you know, get going. You've just played one full day of Ultimate. You need to grind through the seconds. And both teams out here, I've loved the energy, the intensity that they're bringing to the field. I love the trading the points. It's such a close matchup. Just exemplifying the skill of both teams. It's really exciting to have teams also coming over from across the pond, coming over from Australia. It allows us here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, to be just recognize different skill, different strategy, different abilities. And same with these Australian teams from Adelaide coming over here just to play against different players, you know? It allows so much growth for both teams. It's such an exciting matchup.
Turnbull with the disc finds Kleinig center field. We've seen a lot of work cycling through Turnbull, Foley, and Earl. We're going to see Earl again, far sideline marked by Palico, right in the red zone. Tong coming back to give him a reset option, but it's not going to be it.
Oh, great footwork there.
That somebody's played a little bit of indoor. Great work there by Ben Foley to just foot stomp that one right into a score to bring that back to a 3-point game.
So he saw the disc coming. It was a softer undercut, just a softer pass, and he saw where that line was. So his ability and agility to recognize that, let's see, one more time, he sees where he is and just puts his foot in bounds, you know? So it's across the line. It counts as a point. He wants that stat as a point. He doesn't want an assist. He wants that as a point. Anyway, great score for Outbreak Apocalypse.
And so it looks like we're going to have another timeout call. Hive probably wanting to just maybe recognize that it's only 2 points away from an Outbreak victory, and they've got a little bit of a longer path if they want to see a great spot in the semi-finals. By the same token, Outbreak recognizing that they only have to go out and do it again a couple of times. Yeah. They know that in the second half of this game, they've started to see the cracks in the Hive offense.
Right.
It isn't looking as clean as it did in the first half. We're starting to see a little bit of that pressure, maybe some of that fatigue coming in. It is having an impact on decision-making. So we're seeing some throws that maybe aren't as precise as they otherwise would have been. Can Outbreak continue to make those errors manifest? Can they make them mount? Can they add them up? Can they use that to swing the momentum in the other way, in the other direction, and allow that to carry them through to a victory?
You know, Blair, it's classic. We do see that in the late summer, when the guard bees in the front of the Hive aren't doing the best job at recognizing which bees are you know, from that Hive or not, at stopping the intruders, when there are literal cracks in the Hive boxes themselves. We do see other animals, other bees, other insects coming in and stealing the honey and robbing that. And you know, here those cracks are apparent. Maybe those guard bees aren't doing the best job at recognizing, you know, and keeping those intruders out. Outbreak Apocalypse coming in and punishing that, putting those points on the board.
I think it's a little bit less outbreak and a little bit more break in as they keep managing to sneak through the Hive's defense and walk away with the golden treasure, the sweet, sticky syrup of victory. It's up by 3, so they're 2 points away from a score. We're going to see them come out on defense one more time. We have Baddix with the desk, Tucker, Salt, Palakin, Xiong, Chong, Williams, and Lucay on our offensive line for Hive.
Baddix with disc in hand.
Supported by Vanderkop, Gordon, Meyer, Mitchell, and Buckland.
Disc goes up. And Salt to retrieve that, passing to Chong. Looks like a zone.
A very, very tight and compact zone. It's going to put a lot of pressure.
Oh, that's a great hammer. Great decision.
That's one of the other ways to break through a zone, as we've spoken about. You can either tie them out or you can go over the top.
Over the top or around. Yeah, can't go through, can't go under, over the top or around.
Nice wide swing there by Lucay to find Salt, bouncing up the line to Williams for a one-hand from Chong straight into the hands of Vanderkop, who's back on the field with a big line drive.
Nice move.
Buckland keeping it in hand.
Back and forth.
And matching that energy, I love this flowy movement. The stall's not getting too high as Outbreak Apocalypse is finding those open players. There's so much separation. Hive needs to step it up on defense right now. Add a bit more pressure. Shut down these options.
Vanderkop with it is now marked by Palakin, puts a big shot up. Salt's going to be underneath it. What a block. What a denial. Not in his house.
That was the cat playing with a ball of yarn there, just swatting it down.
And a turnover as Matt Gordon gets underneath the blade attempt to Connor Williams.
Vanderkop with the disc. Looking at options.
It's going to hit that up line.
Nice.
Shut down by the Palakin foot flash. Goes anyway. Williams aggressive, trying to shut down everything. Baddix going to be forced to look for that reset option.
Oh, it goes wide and it's too far.
I mean, that's what we see. Chris Salt gets the block, throws the turnover. Matt Gordon gets the block. Can't get the completion on the other side. So a little bit of trading backwards and forwards. It's nice to see these two teams competing aggressively. Lucay, Chong, Salt as the upfielders in that horizontal stack as we see Outbreak switch to a match defense now.
Yeah, match defense and horizontal stack from Hive.
What a take by Palakin.
Great separation.
Doing some nice give-go movement to really establish a lot of flow into the downfield space using Salt and Tucker to Chong.
He's such a challenging player. Again, we've talked about his agility, his speed, acceleration to defend in small spaces. Such a challenge. Tucker finding Chong again. Williams fighting to get open downfield.
Just can't shake off Buckland. The stall count getting a little bit high. Has to look back to reset for Lucay.
Oh, and a fake. Finding Chong again.
A little bit of a stumble as he tries to move a little bit faster than his boots are going to let him.
We're seeing hand up on the far side, no doubt looking for a hammer, but Chong waiting for the safe options to open up a lane.
Great bid by Buckland, but it's going to be Lucay who comes down with it, not able to shut down the continuation throw from Tucker because he just committed so hard on that bid. And it could have been the one that did it.
It could have been, you know, Blair, I want to bring props to that layout. That's you know, he's laying it all out quite literally to try to make that defensive play. But an important thing to remember, as you just said, when you do lay out, you're taking yourself out of the play for a moment. And when you lay out, an important thing to remember is how quickly can you get up, especially if it's a missed block. So here, Buckland, you know, putting it all out there, but because he wasn't able to adapt on defense and get on the mark right away, it's an open shot, easy breakthrow. Is it even break if there's no mark, you know, and it's tough for the downfield defense to defend. Big props for that athletic bid from Buckland. Also, beautiful points for Hive.
Looked like his head may have hit the ground. Lucky he's got those thick curls. Might have provided him a little bit of cushioning.
So great point for Hive. Working their way, trying to claw it back up, back to the 15 points. Some stats there.
So we've got Elham Baladraf with the disc for the pull for Hive. It's going to fade out early.
We've seen a few discs fading out, you know, this close sideline. Just about that point, I would like to see both teams maybe taking it from the other side of the field and recognizing that the consistent brick, as happens, allowing advantageously, strategically, Outbreak Apocalypse to take the disc from the middle of the field, and the middle of the field gives the team so many more options, so much more width to work with.
We're going to see an early match set up. Lee marking Kleinig, but he gets through, finds Snow as Baladraf looks to close. Back to Kleinig, big arm flash from Richie Lee, but he can go around. Paliko takes a stumble as we see Turnbull with the disc. Cross shot to Foley. Huge forehand. Chen's going to be underneath it, but it's going to be Lachlan Earl who comes down with it.
What a point from Outbreak.
That is going to be 14-11 to the side from Adelaide, Australia, hoping to chip away at a shot in our semi-finals. Only 1 point away from a shot at glory. Hive 4 points away, putting up a fantastic performance. Again, they've been trading most of the game, but the pressure seems to have been let off somewhere in the second half.
Somewhere in the second half, yeah.
It'd be really, really good to see whatever that was, just shaken loose, let them get back into the same rhythm that we've seen that worked so well for them previously. Now, one of the big issues with that, though, is that a lot of Hive's strength appears to be in their aggressive and precise offense.
Yes, yeah.
Now, they can score an offensive point and they could bring it to 14-12, but then they still have to play defense and convert for 3 points if they want to walk away with a win.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle. We see Penfold on the sideline. His fingers are crossed. He's offering support and energy from his team because he is on board. He knows what's ahead, what they need to do to claw back, the energy they need to bring, and he's looking, no doubt, to offer that. As we've talked about, there's so many ways, so many roles that you can play Ultimate on the field. There's, of course, the assister, the person who's throwing, the catcher, the person who's scoring that point, but also everyone else on the field, the defense that's played, but also the players on the sideline can play such an important role in letting players know who's open, where the defense are, you know, or defensively, what options might be available and where to take away that valuable space.
So we're seeing Outbreak come down in a zone defense, which means that our initial side stack that we saw from Hive has collapsed into a horizontal. We've got Luce and Williams supporting Chong. Again, Ben Chong, that big blade over the top of Baddix. Finds Chris Salt far sideline, putting a shot up, looking for Xiong.
Oh, nice D. Ooh, and they say catch your Ds, but it works out here.
That's Maya with the disc now far sideline, and Xiong starts to put the wall in place. Goes to Malotra after that great pull. Can he get the assist? He puts it high and up. And it's going to be Buckland with the score for the game as Outbreak put a win over the Busy Bees Hive from Auckland to earn themselves a spot in the semi-finals. So we may be seeing them yet again in our final match. But up next, we have the first of our string semi-finals, which is from the other side of the bracket. So we're looking forward very much to bringing you that exciting coverage. Well done to both of these teams for putting on such a fantastic show for us here in Ōtautahi Christchurch at Bob Dean's Field in Hagley Park. It is the 2024 New Zealand Ultimate Championships Division 2. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
And I'm Kelsey Bielik.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with the next one.
Well, I saw Maddie, I was like, oh,
as we've already noted in the first half. Stop talking about how great the first half was. Yeah, people will watch it later. Exactly, this is the thing. And I'm just like, you see that you just pretend it's perfect. usually don't even tell you. Yeah, I know. And if I see something go down, I always just like, we're talking. I can still see it. If it,
ULTI.TV.